What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video, and by the title of this video you can already tell what this video is about. We are doing my review of Fantastic Four First Steps. Now, you guys have all known the big movies of this summer were Jurassic World, Superman, and Fantastic Four. I've only seen two out of those three, obviously Superman and Fantastic Four. Wasn't really interested in Jurassic World. But pretty much Superman and Fantastic Four are the big two. And they're going to be going to war in theaters right now, just because of the times that they're coming out and everything. And I want to just make it clear, because I'm sure all of you know by now I'm a DC guy. I am not biased in any way. A friend of mine would disagree, but I am not biased towards either universe. At the end, I will tell you which one I preferred. I'm sure by the time I get to the end of this video, you'll be able to tell. But yeah, I'm going to give my review, and then we'll talk about which I think was better and which I think is going to win the war. But yeah, let's get into it. Alrighty, so as per usual, I'm going to start off with the positives, then I will get into the negatives. So, starting off, I think my main positive note from this film is the casting. The casting in this film was fantastic. No pun intended. It was amazing. Great casting. Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn. I mean, all four of them are just fucking fantastic. Seriously. They have this family bond that works so well, and the chemistry comes so naturally, and they all just play off each other incredibly well. And each of them nail their individual parts. Now, I'm not a big Fantastic Four guy. I've never seen any of the other films. I've seen bits and pieces, but I've never watched them all the way through. And just by seeing this, I can already tell that this cast, this group of people, way better, way more natural than the other three movies. Well, technically the other two, because, you know, it's the same cast in the other two, but they just work perfectly together. I think all four of them play their parts perfectly, and they really do feel like a family. I also really thought that the CGI in this movie was very stellar, very, very good. I think that the visual effects all looked fantastic, specifically for stuff like the stuff when they're in space. From when they go up to space, they try to negotiate with Galactus. Galactus looks fantastic in this movie. He looks awesome. He's huge. He's big. He's just intimidating. He has a big presence about him. And the way his suit worked, it was really good. It looked fantastic, especially at the end too, when he's walking through the city, he's wrecking all the buildings and stuff. It looked very, very good. I've really loved kind of the big moments in this movie. I feel like one of the strongest moments in this film is when they're up in space and they're being chased by the Silver Surfer, and they're going around this star and they're being dragged into this black hole, and she's just chasing them, and Sue Storm is giving birth to Franklin Richards. I thought that was a really, really good scene. I quite enjoyed that scene. I thought it was very good, the way it was done, and just how they chose to do it. I felt like it worked, and the cinematography is another thing. Beautiful cinematography in this film. Some gorgeous shots, man. Specifically with Silver Surfer. I mean, the shot of her floating over everyone in Times Square is a beautiful shot. So many great shots of them up in space. Galactus, again, so many great shots of him. Another really, really big positive I had about this film is the setting. This 1960s retro futuristic setting that we're in. And when I'm talking about the setting, you just really get the vibe that they're in this old school era, this bygone era, and it's very it's just a very warm feeling, and they do a good job at making sure you feel like you're there, and it really does work. It works very, very, very well. So I thought that was very good as well. And another possibly the biggest thing is the story. I thought the story worked pretty well for this film. It was a pretty basic, straightforward plot, which is fine. I mean, like even so Superman was pretty straightforward. It was just about Galactus wanting to conquer Earth, and the Fantastic Four attempting to negotiate, and the negotiations failing. And they trying to find out all these ways to save and protect Earth. It's good. It's a good plot, and it works for what they were trying to do with this film. It's not groundbreaking. It's nothing crazy. It was just it worked for what it was, and I think they did a very good job with that. And kind of just building this story around this basic plot. It's kind of very similar to the Man of Steel plot. Just this alien, quote unquote alien from space, coming to Earth to devour it, to conquer it, whatever. And I love stories like that, because especially when they do it real, and I think this movie did it real to a good extent. It's very, I don't want to say relatable, but it's like it makes you think, like, how would that be if that happened in real life? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, as someone who believes there's extraterrestrial life out there, when you're watching something like this, again, same feeling I get with Man of Steel, even though I'm not a big fan of that film. Just that the thought of there's this higher being out there that could just come and conquer us is a scary thought. And I felt that kind of fear watching the film. Not like obviously I wasn't like in shambles type fear, but that thought was in the back of my head. It's like, wow, what if this actually happened in real life? And it's such a scary thought to think about, and it just puts me in the feeling of the film that much more when I think about it like that. So I found some relatability there. Which was, good. I think my last compliment about the film is the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was pretty solid. I thought it was a pretty good soundtrack. I really do like that main score that was put together. I think it works. Not a big fan of the big orchestra, like the Fantastic Four. I thought that was a little cheesy, a little hokey. I wasn't big on that, but the chorus and like the overall instrumental of it was very, very good. It's a very good tune. It's catchy. It works, and it works for not only the time period that they put themselves in, but just the characters in general. And probably, I guess this is my last positive thing about the movie, was the post-credit scene, or the mid-credit scene. We finally, after all this time, get to see Doom. We get a glimpse of him, at least. It's just, it's 4 years later, you see Sue Storm and Franklin Richards chilling on a couch. She gets up, walks away, she comes back, and Doom is sitting there with his mask in his hand, and Franklin is just putting his hand out to him. Finally, after all these years of no build-up to this event that we know has been coming, we finally get our first glimpse at Doctor Doom, which was nice. It definitely made me a little more excited for Doomsday. I'm not confident that it's going to be good yet, but I'm definitely, my excitement levels are definitely higher than it was. So yeah, that was my last positive of the film. Now let's get into the negatives. All right, so my biggest issue with the Fantastic Four First Steps film is the significant lack of action. Now, this is kind of an issue that I had with Thunderbolts. There wasn't in this film really any satisfying action sequences, really. You had the fight up in space, and it wasn't even really much of a fight. It's just Johnny attacks Galactus, and they kind of get into a little scuffle with Silver Surfer, and it ultimately leads into a chase sequence, which the chase sequence was cool, but I don't know if I would really consider that an action sequence. It's really just them flying through space and her chasing them. And then the ending fight, which I'm going to also get into later, I thought as a fight was very underwhelming. I was very disappointed with how the fight played out at the end. I understand he's this giant fucking thing, and it's like with their power set, there's really not much they're going to be able to do against him. But I just wish they kind of did more. The whole fight just kind of consisted of Sue Storm pushing him and like Reed climbing on him and just stabbing him a few times. It was just there wasn't much to it. It didn't last long. It just, we spent the whole film building up to this final fight, and it just kind of fell flat. And it's the same thing with Thunderbolts. You get to the ending of Thunderbolts, and you're kind of expecting this big fight between Sentry and the Thunderbolts. Granted, because of how fucking overpowered Sentry is, you really can't have much of a fight. So that's why they kind of just did it internally. But it still just didn't work for me. Like, I like a big ending battle, because these are comic book films, right? You want an ending battle. It's like playing a video game and not getting an ending boss fight. It's just not, it sucks, And that was my biggest complaint about this film. The ending battle just was very, very, very underwhelming. Another very big issue I had with this is Silver Surfer felt so unnecessary in this movie. It really feels like they only put her in here to herald Galactus, to let everyone know that Galactus is coming. So that way they didn't have to introduce him at the very start of the film, and they could kind of keep him in the background while we have somebody else kind of explaining what his motives are and everything until we meet him. And they kind of toy around with the idea of giving her an arc. We learn the teeniest bit of her backstory, and then she just kind of goes from being bad and evil. We figure out a little bit of her backstory, and then she disappears for like 25 minutes. Comes back at the end and makes the final sacrifice to get Galactus through this black hole. It felt forced, and it didn't work for me. She just felt like she just didn't do much in this movie. She just spent the whole movie telling everybody that Galactus is coming. She got her ass beat for like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and the Fantastic Four up in space, and then she chases them. She just does nonstop chasing throughout the film is what it felt like, and she didn't feel necessary. It just felt, I don't know, she just didn't really have a place in this story to me, and she just felt really just like there just to be there. She felt more like a cameo, if anything. So I wasn't big on that. I didn't get it. Another issue that I had with this movie was this kind of goes along with what I was saying earlier with the ending, but not so much the ending fight. The ending of kind of this cliche. I hate when movies do this. They do the thing where you think the main hero sacrificed themselves, or one of the heroes sacrificed themselves. You think they're dead, and then as everybody's mourning around them, miraculously something happens to bring them back. I thought that was really cliche and very predictable. This ending was very predictable ending. It just didn't take any risks at all, in my opinion. I understand you need all the Fantastic Four alive. But this is like, going into this, I was fully expecting on that planet getting destroyed. And that is why I thought that was going to explain why they were at Earth 616 in the post-credit scene of Thunderbolts. We still don't know what the fuck that was about. That's another problem I kind of have with this movie, if you want to count it as that, is we still get no clarification on what the Thunderbolts post-credit was. I'm assuming we'll figure it out maybe in Doomsday. I don't know, but very just upset. It's just like, we get this cool post-credit scene. They're in Earth 616, which is the main MCU timeline, if you guys don't know. And it's just like, we get this movie, and it's just like, what was that? Like, what did they just show that just to let us know that the movie's coming out? Like, that was a bit strange in my opinion, but this is what it is. But yeah, that is probably about my final complaint. And now I'm gonna talk to you about, this kind of back and forth between Superman, Fantastic Four, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it. All right, so which film did I think was better, Superman or Fantastic Four? I'm sure you can tell by my review, I thought Superman was better. To me, Superman, as I said in my review for it, is a 10 out of 10 perfect film. It is as close to perfect as you can get. I really did not have any problems with it. If I had to have like one tiny little teeny tiny complaint, is that Superman just got beat up a little too much for me. But again, that is like a minuscule complaint. Obviously with Fantastic Four, I've had quite a few complaints. So for me, Superman is a 10 out of 10. Fantastic Four is like a 6 out of 10, maybe 6.5, around that area. I do think Superman is a largely better film, unbiasedly. But still, Fantastic Four, good movie. Definitely a step in the right direction. So much better than Thunderbolts was. Thunderbolts was... I know a lot of people like that movie. I liked it at first, but upon rewatch, I realized that that movie's not all that. I personally preferred Captain America 4. But this was a very, very good film, going in the right direction, definitely. So it is a good front for Marvel. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to drop a like, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.